Hello, one and all. Welcome back to Mere Mortals Interviews. We got a fantastic chance to speak to Jonathon Radford this time around. It was a awesome conversation. It ranged in amongst quite a few things, but as a little bit of a summary, Jonathon is the co-founder of Suit Society, a custom suiting service here in Brisbane, Australia, which have expanded to a couple of locations. And tune into the actual podcast. It looks like they're going to be expanding even further with potential new products along the way. From some humble beginnings, we talked about some of his passion in the financial sector and how he moved from almost a lineage of property into more of a share market. The ideas behind starting Suit Society, why he went about that, fitness and how that kept him going during the COVID times, as well as mental health, a huge aspect, huge topic that sometimes doesn't get discussed, and some of the items where negatively when thought about are always good to be brought to light and have a discussion across. Which led to a really interesting answer to the question of who Jonathon would sit with historically, both past and present. Sit back and enjoy this conversation with Jonathon Radford. Welcome back to Mere Mortal Interviews. Today I have a pretty special guest, someone that I've known from 2014, stayed connected a little bit, but it's going to be a pleasure of a conversation. I've got Jonathon Radford. Now, Jonathon is the co-founder of Suit Society. He holds a couple of other positions as well. Also played in the space of the Australian International Securities, has been involved in that for around 10 years. Hoping to probably discuss that and a whole lot more. Jonathon, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Juan. Great to see you, mate.
Now, as always, we like to begin any of these interviews with a little bit of a mere mortal moment. We want to hear from yourself, Jonathon. What's something that occurred last week, month, that kind of brought you back to a mere mortal?
So I guess we're constantly learning all the time. Even though we've been in the game for 8 years now, we had a customer come in last week who was quietly spoken, quite sheepish, timid. He was in his 60s. He was a CEO type, so he was looking for a corporate suit. Through the process, we choose the linings. I suggested some conservative linings, but was shocked when he chose a multicolored, almost psychedelic paisley lining. So I guess it's the age-old tale that I would emphasize to all business owners: never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. and I recall, so let's just wind it back, right? So confirm with me. So Suit Society, you guys co-hosted with your cousin, I think, in 2012.
Correct.
What has been the wildest, I guess, suit that you guys have had to customize for an individual?
Mate, the wildest one, I can think back, was a 75-year-old from West End. He wanted a purple suit. So not like the famous nice Hollywood deep purple kind of suede look. It was a bright purple, and then he got a mustard yellow lining inside of it, and that was for his job interview. Apparently, I don't remember what the job was for, but again, I was flabbergasted. But hey, it's each to their own, and that's why we're in the game, to create those special suits for the unique individuals.
Well, I was going to say something like, you think of a suit as a way to kind of stand out, and what better way to stand out rocking up to an interview with something like that. Jonathon, exactly. I've always been really curious, right? So pre-2012, just if I dial it back, what were you doing before then? Give us 60 seconds of who you were sort of before then, and then a bit of the story of how did you and your cousin go about figuring out, right, I think something like Suit Society might be the way forward.
Yeah, so pre-2012, I was studying at uni, and I was working at a property developer, which is a family-owned business. And I guess my cousin James, one of the co-founder at Suit Society, he was studying law as well. So we're both at uni. We saw each other nearly every day, going to the gym. And I guess the idea of Suit Society was born in the sauna, actually, which is quite strange. But we're in the sauna. He bought a suit from a another competitor, and it didn't fit in well at all. It was horrible. We found out the cost of it, and from there, we just put our heads together and we thought we could do better, and that's how Suit Study was born.
Right. Okay. And we were talking about this because when I came into Suit Society in 2014, and I remember going through the process. We're both sort of Brisbane based, and you can obviously do it there. I've seen now that you guys have expanded out to quite a few locations: Sydney, Toowoomba, Sunshine Coast. Did you guys from 2012 moving forward? When was the point when you thought, okay, we can really start expanding this out? What was that point when you thought, okay, this is really starting to turn now?
Yeah, so I guess our goals from the beginning with Suit Study. So when we first started, James and I modelled all our suits on a Wix website.
Yep.
That we did ourselves. So both of us we're not creative in that respect with website design. So it was kind of a cookie cut job. It wasn't great. James and I aren't models, but we just kept on with the business, just a lot of hustle. And from there, the next goal was to build a professional website, which we did in 2014, I believe. And then 2015, we launched properly with a quite an expensive website that you're able to customize and design the suit online. So we could just go predominantly on the online space. Plus, we hired proper models, which made a huge difference. So that was our end goal, I guess. So I guess Suit Society, we kind of pushed through and perfected our skills, I guess. And then 2015, we really launched.
What made you guys, or what was it that made you guys go, okay, we've got a Wix website that we've created ourselves, and you might not be the experts at it, but a lot of people out there, entrepreneurs and the like, will go, okay, well, I've got to create my own thing because it's the absolute, lowest amount of budget. I can go and do this. When did you guys realize, okay, we've got to go from this kind of homemade with moderate skills at creating websites to a proper website? Was there something that was telling you that from customers or data, or was it just you guys intuitively saying, okay, we need to step this up?
So being both very analytical, goal driven, we had our business plan written up before Suit Study was even incorporated. So we had our stages there, our milestones that we wanted to hit. Once we reached savings, enough money, that's when we launched it. So James and I, we didn't earn a wage from the business for at least 2 years. It was all going back into the business to build what now is Suit Society. So it wasn't really a pivot point. We always had that idea where we're going to be. We just didn't know when we were going to get there.
Right. Okay. And how did you, obviously, you guys, Suit Society, you're using essentially an international sort of level in terms of being able to manufacture everything. Again, going all the way back to when you began that, did you have existing connections? Or if you didn't, how did you end up start building that?
Yeah. So we didn't at all. We used Alibaba, which wasn't well known back then. I think it was 2011. We're looking at that. It took us about a year and a half. We got in touch with people overseas, with tailors from Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and also China. From there, we narrowed it down, a short list to about 5, and then we were both on a plane. I think we were about 22, 24 at the time, visiting all the tailors. And it was really important to us to make sure it was above board, it was ethical, that it wasn't a huge company as well. We wanted to help a small business, and we're lucky enough to find, I guess, tailors who are still our tailors today in Shanghai. And we've grown with them. So now they're one of the bigger tailors in China, but we were there with them straight from the start, which is great, especially with that overseas relationship. We always know we can trust them. They know us. We're over there once a year, picking out new fabrics and working with their tailors as well, which is really important, especially business in China. You need to be there, and you need to have that physical handshake, despite COVID.
It's going to be that connection. No, it's really interesting you bring this up.
Yeah.
We had a recent conversation with Tamar over in Shanghai. And one thing that she mentioned as well, and I wanted to touch base with you, was 2 things. One, did you find that you didn't, not having particularly the language, I'm not sure whether Mandarin or something similar, do you find hinder you? Because I know a lot of people who I interact in other small businesses, they find like that might be a little bit of a blocker. And two, would you say to anyone sort of thinking about that definitely those sort of trips when available is sort of almost like a must-have if you want to be doing that?
Yeah, definitely. So we limited Mandarin. We're lucky enough. Well, I think when we first started, our contacts knew little English as well. So it was good that we were over there, that we could kind of work everything out, especially the contracts and the business side of things as well. Now China is, I guess it's open to the world. They've got their own, their English is probably better English than me, to be honest. But especially now, I guess, going over there, meeting them, if you were to start a business like Suit Society, or a business that where you're interacting with China or overseas, it's great to be over there. You have to be. But I'm pretty sure now they've got fairs, like global fairs, where it's like a road show over there. You'd go there and they have businesses from all around. And I think once a year or twice a year they do that in most of the larger cities in China.
Right. Okay. I'm assuming the Beijings and Guangzhou and a lot of other places around that.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Now, let's move a little bit forward. Right? We're in the 2012, 2014 now. Obviously, we're 2020. We've had COVID happen. We've had a couple of things going on. Where do you think? That's all good. No. So we're thinking, 2020 now. COVID's occurred. How's that impacted you guys? Obviously, with suits being an item that you generally think to be worn when you're out and about or at the workplace. How has that sort of impacted you? And then the double whammy of manufacturing from in Asia and having those items sort of go back and forth. How's that affected you guys, and what have you put in place to try to move forward, or the learnings you've experienced from that?
Yeah, so we're aware of COVID quite early on, because our tailors are based in Shanghai. So we knew about it around December. To be perfectly honest, I remember Googling other pandemics, so your SARS in the world, and just seeing how that kind of disrupted, I guess, global trade. I honestly thought we wouldn't have had the lockdowns that we had, but it happened. We had to adapt. We adapted quite quickly. So in February we shut down. So before the quarantine orders were in place, and from there, instead of, I guess, servicing our clients, we just worked on the business, which was great, because to be honest, like I feel like over the last few years, Suitside has been comfortably operating, just servicing existing clients.
Yep.
And COVID, I guess, made us hungrier, and we're now actively seeking and truly enjoying welcoming new faces to the Suit Society family. But I guess to answer your question, to cope, we didn't pivot towards face masks or anything like that, what a lot of people did in our position. We just concentrated on the business, made sure that we had a great social media campaign, had all our ducks in a row as well. So when we were open for business, we were ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, excellent. Now, of course, people listening in at this point, if you want to check out a little bit more Suit Society, and I can see Jonathan's in a crisp suit there as well, go and check out Suit Society online as well, and hit up the guys there. But moving away from Suit Society, because I think you've been doing a few more things than just Suit Society now. Had a bit of a look, obviously, at the usual, checking the profile, what are they up to these days? And I saw you're also the Chief Financial Officer. I think it was Adama, correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, so it's a digital marketing agency, some external CFO. They've actually changed their name. I have to update that.
Right.
So Tom Wilson, who is an old work colleague of mine, he has been a marketing guru for about 8 years now. He helps out Suits. So we've got our own in-house team, but we turn to him when we need that, I guess, that expert advice. So I've been helping him with his finances, making sure everything's okay. Him being the creative type, I'm a bit more business savvy, I guess, and been actively helping them out for the last 2 years.
Yeah, excellent. And also, I saw obviously your sort of asset management sort of company structure that's also occurring in place as well. And I wanted to get a little bit this for you now. So obviously, Suit Society, it's something that you guys have co-founded a little while ago. It's continues to say now you're starting to branch out into a couple of other places. It also seems to me like you've had a love for sort of financial things for quite a long time. So whether it's property, international, local equity, share market and everything. Where did that sort of love in the financial space grow from? Was it something that you had all the way back from when you were younger?
Yeah, so I guess since I was 16, 17, I bought my first shares when I was 18.
What were those shares, if you can recall?
Oh, mate, it was Telstra, so absolute rubbish. I still have them today, actually. I don't know why I have them, but I do.
Yep.
I think everyone gets told to buy Telstra, but it's quite funny because my family, having the property development business, a hotel business, very property orientated, don't like shares at all. And I've always been the opposite, I guess. I owned a house at one stage in my life. I ended up selling because it wasn't for me, and that's okay. I love shares, and to be honest, I've just had a fascination with stocks. I think maybe one of the earlier books I read was The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, who was the professor for Warren Buffett, that everyone knows. And just a fascination from there, I think. But there wasn't any mentor, I guess, in my life that pushed me down that road. It was just a discovery and maybe a rebellion as well against everyone being
property.
Yeah, I want to do something a bit different, I guess.
Yeah, right. And where do you see yourself then taking that? And I mean, I know currently it is close to external funding, but where's the idea? Obviously, was that brought about purely for just sort of managing your own personal sort of assets, or is there a plan further that you have there? And I think a lot of individuals, right, you'll see a lot of business owners will transition from that period where, okay, they've found success and they'll get stuck a little bit in that middle period where they've reached something and then they don't have that next journey or the next sort of storyline that they want to transition to. So for you, was it a case that you had always in your mind what was some of going to be those next steps? And if so, where do you see that sort of progressing through for yourself?
Yeah, so with Attica, Attica Asset Management, that's just been created just to manage my own money professionally, and just to keep me in check, really. So once a month, I'll do my monthly reports, which are available to the public as well, and then my insights on particular stocks I'm looking. So about 2 months ago, I completed my Masters of Applied Finance, majoring in investment management. So I guess it's a way to kind of show potential future employees that I'm able to professionally manage my money. But at the moment, I'm not seeking employment in that space, but it's more of a hobby, if anything. And I think, and eventually, and what I'm actually exploring at the moment is having a free financial coaching or financial resource website for people to be able to manage their own money properly, including budgets and things. But I'm looking for that, I guess, that niche, something to be a bit different from everyone else, because it is a saturated market. Because I wouldn't want to launch anything if it's of no value to anyone. Yeah. So the last maybe year or so, I've been looking into that, maybe jumping into that space. So we might have to schedule another interview in about a year's time and talk about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It'd be interesting. I know there's a lot of things coming out recently, right? Whether it's in the fintech space with all the new digital banks, what they'll be doing, the way that they handle the data. The new podcast, actually one called Flux, which is providing little 5-minute snippets of information to start. I think there's just a bounty of space. And as you're right, I think making the right voice and being understood by not everyone, but the right individuals that want to get involved, it's just open there, especially when there's a lot of monolithic existing structures, right, that don't only provide a certain type of information. Stepping back from some of the business side of things, because I think if people want more, we'll extract that. And if they've got comments as well, definitely leave them. I can pass them through and get that information. But we were talking about something a little bit earlier, right? So suits. Now, for most people, getting a suit and having it custom made is fantastic. And you can probably wear it a lot of the times. But I have a lot of friends that are into fitness, bodybuilding. You yourself went through a period where you were just riding bikes quite long distances and also sort of doing a bit of fitness and that. How did you find, at least for yourself, from a wearing suits perspective, did you try and have two different types of suits or different garments for when you went fluctuate up and down? And what possessed you to do 240 kilometers on a bicycle?
So I've got three wardrobes for both different stages in my life. I tend to get really focused on things. I get obsessive. So that answers the 240 kilometer ride. But that was for Conquer Cancer. It was a charity ride with Rio Tinto, and we through suits. So we raised about $3,500. I think that was back in 2014 when I first met you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't done a 250 kilometer ride since then. I'm a bit older now. I don't think my legs would make it. But yeah, to deal with the weight fluctuations, having to wear tailored suits every day is to have quite a large wardrobe. But one thing, I guess, which is not smart in a business decision, with all our suits at Suit Society, we have like a 5 centimeter hem with everything. So each suit you can take out by 5 centimeters. So even like if my old suit, which was too tight now, I'd be able to bring it out again. But being, I guess, lucky enough to own a suit business, I have quite a large wardrobe of suits, catering to all my different weights and shapes and sizes.
Yeah. No, if someone, like for myself, right, someone who, again, fluctuates maybe up and down 10 kilograms, would you just suggest the two sort of suit types? Would you go with one at the top end and one for the bottom end? Especially if it's a Suit Society suit?
Yeah, well, I guess it all depends on your budget, really. But we do have a lot of bodybuilders when they go on their fasts and lose all that weight. I guess to cater from that, you would have two different suits. The biggest thing is shoulders. Your shoulders tend not to change too much, which is good. And to get shoulders remade on your suit's expensive. You might as well just buy a new suit.
Right.
So to cater for those people, you would have that 5 centimeter hem there. But then we'd suggest, hey, look, have that jacket. Don't have it too tight. Have it in the middle there. It should be able to fit you both ways. And when you find your perfect weight, we'll get it tailored in there, and then maybe have two different sets of pants as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when people buy a tailored suit, it's their goal body. It's what they want to be, and it's kind of it's a reminder when they put that suit on and go, oh yeah, I've made it. I've hit that goal. Or it's, oh, okay, I've got a bit of work to do. A reminder in that sense.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Almost, it helps you sort of, you mold into the suit and the suit that you want to be wearing as well. I wanted to check with you. You said that the idea for Suit Society was born out of, using the sauna. Now, obviously you guys, whether it's a sauna or from fitness, that seems to be something that was long-standing for yourself. Were you always into fitness? Have you found it as well that it's helped you out in sort of running businesses and in your day-to-day life up to now?
Yeah, so I guess James and I both love going to the gym, and we're lucky enough to live close enough, and that's what we did every night. So it became more of a business meeting as well, and we even had other people in the sauna giving us advice, which was strange at times, but it all helped us out. But yeah, I guess fitness is a big thing, and mentally as well. It's a good reset. Especially when you're so busy at work and you've got other things on your mind. Going to the gym kind of releases all that, sets you straight again. And I'd imagine when the gym's closed because of COVID, that would have hurt a lot of people, I'd imagine. And it certainly threw my routine out, and I had to kind of reset myself in other ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, fitness is a huge part.
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you then. Personally, we just talked about professionally what COVID might have done to society, and I guess how you were professionally. But personally, how did you find it impacted yourself, just in terms of being isolated, your fitness routine, and just your normal routine, a day-to-day routine?
Yeah, hugely. I had to, maybe the first week, I didn't realize like how much of an impact it would have had on me. I went for lots of walks. I share a studio apartment with my partner and my dog, who's about 50 kilos. So it's pretty tight in there. We're both isolating, so it's pretty tough. A lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoom meetings with friends as well to keep sane, have mental health checks. But yeah, I guess finding that routine again and replacing gym with going for a run, walking the dog, or even more functional things. I know I was one of the ones running out to on Facebook Marketplace looking for gym equipment.
Oh, yeah. You and half
looking
of
up
Australia.
underground gym. Yeah, kettlebells are $150. I thought about it, but yeah, looking for underground gyms as well. I swear there would have been a couple out there, but I did find it tough, to be honest. And when the gyms reopened, I was so happy about it, because it's such a big. I guess I wake up about 5:30. I'm normally at the gym by 6, and that really kickstarts my day. So having to replace that with something else, I found quite tough and challenging. But I guess it was a lesson to me that to be aware of my routine and the way I kind of operate and what's best for me.
Certainly.
I'll definitely be buying kettlebells now while they're on sale.
Yeah, while they're on sale,
locked up just in case, mate.
Well, now everyone's sort of like offloading them. That gyms are sort of coming back on. It'll get them at a discount, and you'll be prepared for next time. I actually heard
supply demand.
I actually heard of an interesting story over in New York. There was I forget his name, but someone became known as sort of like the iron seller, and he was just sort of collecting all of the dumbbells and plates all over New York and then reselling it for like insane prices and just made a killing with it. Mate, you mentioned something around mental health, and I saw that you also you've dealt with Beyond Blue as well as a sponsor, I believe. Anything in particular around that? Why you sort of sponsored in Beyond Blue or with mental health? Did you see the effect of a bit of mental health to other mates that you had as well, or even personally?
Yeah. So we used to. We've always had a charity linked to Suit Society. The cancer in the beginning was because my grandmother, James's grandmother as well, passed from breast cancer when we were quite young. In 2015, I lost a really good friend of mine to mental health, to suicide. And I guess that kind of really, it shocked everyone. No one would have thought that, I guess, that he was feeling like that, that would happen. So yeah, that's become quite a huge thing for me and for friends. We've been pretty affected by it. And I guess any way that we can kind of give back through Suit Society, we do.
Yeah, no, certainly. It's interesting when you say, a lot of the things I've spoken with people through even just this 3 months sort of isolation, 4 month isolation. And, I've got friends in Melbourne here in Australia, right? We're going through another lockdown there. And it's critical, right? You don't see how much of an impact it can be to your mental health to just have the ability to be going about the freedom of what you choose to wear a mask and not wear a mask and everything in between. So definitely recommend if people are listening as well, reach out to those various ways you can, whether Black Dog Society or the other ones as well. So it's a big thing.
I think it's interesting too that that they haven't released any statistics as well over the last few months. So I'd hate to know how many people, I guess, have struggled with it and because of the lockdowns and isolation.
Yeah, no, it's sort of almost the, and it goes with a couple of different things, but it's sort of that secret under the hood stuff that, we see the big numbers of something that's affecting COVID and, directly by the disease. But how many of the ones that are unseen that are being affected and worse, going down those paths that could be adding to those final numbers. So yeah, no, it's a big thing. I just think it's something that, especially for males, right, that also haven't had the ability to speak up about when things are issues. Everyone should feel free. And, when you can, have Zoom meeting with your mates just to be able to connect and catch up and actually check for real how they are. So Mate, I got a couple of quick-fire questions for you. Now, they don't have to be quick-fire answers, so you can sort of answer them as you will, and we can sort of go from there. So, one thing, I know you're not a huge social media poster, which is an interesting one, but if you could post to social media anything, right, a message that everybody would see, what would it be?
Yeah, that's true. I'm not big on Instagram. I don't have Facebook either, which is weird. Yeah, it's a tough question. I guess a photo of my dog, Boris, which is weird. He's this big, fluffy Swiss Shepherd, and he brings a smile to everyone's face, I guess. So I guess he makes even my worst days seem okay, and I'm sure he'd have the same impact if others saw him as well.
That's a good answer. No one can deny a 50-kilo dog to bring a smile to anyone's face, right?
Unless his hair gets on all his suits. That's tough.
Then it's horrible.
That's the only problem. Yeah.
Then you bring out the lint rollers to try to help you out. What for you? Obviously, what would the perfect day look like for you, or perfect sort of routine for a day?
Yep. So I guess the perfect day for me is equally as relaxed as it is active. So up early. I'm up at 5 a.m. every morning. A coffee. Maybe a run with my partner, then a quick breakfast, gym or a hike on the Sunshine Coast, then maybe read a book if I've got time, and take my dog for a walk too, and then a long early dinner with friends and my partner with a cheeky bowl of red, and then all over again, rinse and repeat.
Good that you said a red, mate. That's the only choice.
Yeah, I don't get white wine. Hopefully I don't lose too many customers, but I'm not too sure why people drink white wine.
No.
Never understood.
Even with the mixing and pairing with food as well, even that, I just thought, no, I'd still go the red. That's still the only choice. For you, mate, what's looking ahead, short term, we're thinking 6 months, and then long term, 1+ years, 5 years. Any particular goals that you could call out to say if I could call it out in the short term and long term goals, what would they be?
Yeah, so I guess short term at the moment is to keep our heads above water with the impact of COVID, especially with our Melbourne store. We're kind of locked out of Melbourne at the moment. But I guess one positive has come out of COVID is that we've turned proactive, no longer reactive. So we're no longer comfortable anymore, which is good, I guess. We're hustling again. We're a bit more hungrier than like we were when we first started.
Yep.
And actively seeking new members to join the Suit Society family. So that's our short-term goal. And our long-term goal, and we're excited about, is product expansion. We've stayed very focused on suiting and shirting. That's what we're good at. But we've also been working for a while now to bring more casual suiting range to the market. We've been pretty meticulous in ensuring a more everyday feel that's still beautifully fitted. And that's really COVID's kind of ramped that up as well, because people are working from home. People aren't wearing their full suit to work anymore. They've got their jacket hung up, or they're wearing that tailored suit, for the big events, which is fine. So having that casual range kind of caters to that audience, the new audience as well. I've always joked we just do a suit jacket and a shirt, maybe, and make it COVID special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're really right with the sometimes the more casual sort of fitting jacket, because even one thing I'm noticing, right, again, you're saying you're still going to have a place for the full suits where you go into that sort of special event or formal evening, but just the casual sort of jackets, they're a little bit hard to find, I see. And having one that's sort of properly fitted to an individual, you'd have 2 or 3 of those that you can kind of wear when we talk about Zoom, right? Having them on here or just for a night out, that's sort of the time when it'd be so it'd be cool. It'd be definitely something to see there for a product. That's something that gets me excited. And what about for long term?
So showroom expansion. So I've actually been in contact with a friend. She lives in New Zealand. She lived in Brisbane for a while. She was one of my housemates actually, and she's always been excited to bring Suit Society to New Zealand. So we've been talking to her last couple of months, and I guess having that product and showroom expansion as well, and it's bringing. Or when it does happen, I'm sure it'll bring a lot of fresh enthusiasm to the team, which is exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing like a bit of growth to excite people.
Exactly right.
For you, mate, last two questions. So one, anyone in history, right? Past, present, who would you want to sit down and have a bit of a conversation with? Who would you think would go, okay, this is the sort of person I'd want to get, either have just a casual chat or get some learnings out of?
Yeah, so it's a tough question. I sat down and really thought about this. And I guess I'm a bit more personal with this question. It'd definitely be my friend who passed a few years ago.
Yep.
The reason would be to tell him how much he meant to all of us, and I guess ultimately find out why it happened and to try to understand it as well. I believe understanding that you don't understand is the key to supporting a loved one through their experience of mental health. And like we were discussing before, I think it's so important, especially given our current lockdown isolation environment as well.
No, excellent. And thanks for being so open about that as well. And to you, Jonathon, who do you think, who's the most successful person that you know, and to that end, what success means to you?
I guess both my parents. They both had their side hustles growing up. They had their own businesses as well. My dad's retired now. My mother's still working. But yeah, I think they've just always been level-headed. We've had a pretty good upbringing. I've been very lucky. But success to me, I guess it looks like just being happy. And they've always been happy. I've barely seen a frown on either of their faces, always laughing as well. And that to me, I guess, is success. So I hope in 20, 30 years' time that I'm still happy. It doesn't have to be money. Doesn't have to be business as well. I hope Suit Society is still going, and we're still seeing those smiles from our customers. But yeah, happiness is key, I think. And no one talks or counts their money on their deathbed. It's family and friends and memories that way.
Yeah, no. It's always interesting to hear from hospice carers and hospice doctors, right? And one of those biggest things that they come out of all these patients that they see. It's not about money. It's sometimes about those things that you didn't act on, or the happy moments in your life that you wish you kind of reclaim again.
Yeah, those regrets, I guess. Always don't think twice, unless it's going to hurt someone or hurt yourself. But
Yeah, there's very, very few things that you really should rethink to or otherwise you're going to regret a lot of things. Mate, exactly. How can people either connect with you if they want to, or connect with Suit Society or any of the other ventures that you might have?
Yeah, so I guess Suit Society, we're on all the socials. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Even on our website, we've got a contact form there as well. But if anyone wants to reach out to me personally, I'm happy to have a chat or help out in any way I can. It's LinkedIn. I'm not on any other social media or active on any other social media, but LinkedIn is the one. The way we connected and been keeping, I guess, in touch and checking up on each other silently maybe for the last 7 years.
Yeah, no, right. But interestingly, right, even through that, it's still an easy way to connect and have a conversation with people. So
it's great. Yeah.
If people want to reach out, LinkedIn, it seems to be the way for yourself, Jonathon. But yeah, find Suit Society on all over the socials and as well as their website. And I can tell you personally, it is always a great experience going through Suit Society. Jonathon, thanks so much for your time, for chatting with us at Mere Mortals. Hope everyone enjoyed. If you want to leave any comments, any feedback, any extra questions that you want me to ask Jonathon that we can get back to us, let us know. For now, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.